Hey, Dream Drivers. Welcome to episode 298 of the Dreams and Drive podcast. And I am super excited today to be able to have this solo episode, update you guys on what's going on with me, Raina, and Dreams and Drive, and also talk about a piece of content that debuted this week that really resonated with me and inspired me. And I wanted to kind of share my takeaways and lessons from that with you all. I know that the subject of the documentary that I watched, Kanye West, is the Jeen-Yuhs documentary on Netflix. You know, Kanye West is definitely somebody who's been in the news a lot for some of his antics. So this really isn't about the antics. This is about his story. And I really think as a storyteller, as you guys know, I think there's lessons that we can take from everyone's story. And it's really interesting to just see his beginning days and to see what was really motivating him in the beginning, like us, right? He was a dream driver. He still is a dream driver, but just really being able to see what his mind state was, what his vision, what the dream, what the hustle was like in the beginning is something that I resonated with. And I know a lot of other creatives, a lot of other people in my network who watched were also very inspired. So despite what we may feel about Kanye in other regards, I did think it was pretty imperative to just kind of talk about the lessons because there's a lot that we can learn from that. But before we get into the lessons, guys, remember, if this is your first time listening to Dreams and Drive, welcome. I hope that you enjoy. I hope that you learned something. Please make sure that you're subscribed wherever you're listening. You can find us across the board on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So make sure you're following us on social media as well and sharing about this episode if you felt like it something that you think other people can connect to and resonate with as well. And if you want to be part of our weekly newsletter, The Keys, and get weekly updates and join our Dream Driver community, you can sign up at dreamsanddrive.com/join. That's dreamsanddrive.com/join. So like I mentioned, before we actually get into, my takeaways and my lessons, I want to kind of give you guys a little update about Dreams and Drive, what's going on with me. So it's February, right? February 2022. I'm still working my 9 to 5. So I work at Viacom CBS, which is now, they actually just changed their name to Paramount. I'm still working in marketing and brand partnerships and learning a lot on that front. I think this season has been a season of growth and learning for me and just me reinforcing the skills that I have and also gaining confidence. I think for the past year and a half of just raising Axel, you guys know Axel's almost 17 months. He's about to be a big boy. He's such a light in my life. But just the whole transition from going from regular person to mother, to working mother, to partner, to all these other things, like it has been a struggle, and also just navigating this COVID-19 pandemic, and hopefully that this summer will kind of be a little bit different. So I am doing my best, and I'm really proud of all the strides that I've made, and also just trying to remember that it's still important to go after things for myself and to embark on my own dreams beyond just the things that I'm doing now. I'm really excited. Tomorrow, actually, I'm going to be working on this project with a friend of mine that you guys actually know. Maybe I'll post about that. If you're following on social media, make sure you're following Dreams and Drive on my personal page, Rain Shine Love. That's RAINSHINELVUV, Rain Shine Love. Where I'm going to document. I had this big dream. I've had this dream for a long time. I've always loved this thing that I'm going to do. So I want to see what happens if I actually deep dive into it. So I'm going to start recording the process so you guys can see that dream come alive, and who knows where it'll take me. So on that front, I am also still trying to think about what's the future of Dreams and Drive. I still want to build out a team. I still want to maybe do more Dreams and Drive video content, get back to our Front Seat Fridays. But for some reason, I feel a little bit stalled on that front. I think about my coach, Rich Keller. Sometimes I feel like I let people down who see so much potential in me. And it's crazy because, I have this podcast. It's called Dreams and Drive. And sometimes I feel like it's easier for me to help other people put their dreams in drive, or to talk to other people about how they're putting their dreams in drive instead of putting my own dream into motion. So I want to work on that more in 2022. I accomplished a huge goal this year, moved into a nice little spot. So just adjusting to this new life and this new normal, this new peace. and also just really basking in being a mom. I'm going to talk about this a little bit when I talk about my takeaways from the documentary, but I feel like motherhood has really defined me. And I also feel like it's probably one of the best things that has happened to me. And I really do love being a mother, and it gets me emotional at times. But I do think there is so much beauty in being able to shape a person and to really instill a confidence in someone. And just seeing how much Axe has learned. He is such a light. If you follow me on social media, like, you'll see I post him, from time to time, and he loves reading. He's so vocal. He definitely is probably a chatter just like his mama. So it's really beautiful to see. But let's dive into these lessons from Jeen-Yuhs, which is the part one. Like, I tuned into part one of the trilogy on Netflix. And like I said, disclaimer, Kanye West, I'm not necessarily here in support of, all his recent antics, but I'm really just invested in this story and seeing, like, how did this person come to be? And I love documentaries, and it's really good when, like, the thing about this documentary that I think you guys like is that it was made before he started making it before he was even the Kanye who he is today. So all the footage, all the raw emotions, like, it's all there. And that's what I think it really makes this one special. So let's just get into the takeaways, right? I know a lot of you guys are like, when are you going to get to the takeaways, Marina? So, number one, right? Don't take no for an answer. And there's something about this documentary that really just makes you realize how important it is to believe in yourself and how you really have to have belief in whatever it is. And there's going to be people in your life who are telling you no, and there's going to be people who don't believe in your dream, but you have to have this solid belief that yes, like, no is all right. It's just a no for you, but find your way to a yes. And I think that's something that you can see in this first part of the trilogy, is just how much Kanye didn't take no for an answer. Like, he always went back and found a way. I'm going to try to make this spoiler free so you can still enjoy it. But that was a common theme throughout this part one, is like, he didn't take no for an answer, or he didn't think that no had to be final. No's do not have to be final. And that's something that seems to be like a thread through his life, right? Whether it's going to be for good or bad, we'll see how that pans out. Number two, you got to believe in you before they believe in you. And that connects to number one, right? Not taking no for an answer, but that belief in yourself will be a really strong foothold for everything to come in your life. Like, it's going to be so important. And at times you're not going to believe in yourself, but there has to be some sort of core belief that you can do it, because that confidence is going to have to be the fuel when you're going to get no. That confidence, that belief is going to have to be the fuel when you get rejection. So knowing that you can still do it, even if you're not 100% confident, even if the belief level is not 100%, you still have to have at least a little sliding of a belief that things can happen for you and things will happen for you. And I'm telling you, that will take you a long, long way. Number three, it's funny because there's this scene where, Kanye West is just, I think his assistant was trying to tell him something about how somebody wanted to work with him, but they basically wanted to work with him for free. And, he really made this point of, like, he could not sell what he had to offer for free anymore. And I think a lot of times as dream drivers, we get stuck in this whole, like, okay, we'll wait to sell it, or maybe we don't want to sell it, or maybe no. You really, really, really have to come to a point where you put a value behind what you are worth. You are valuable, and you don't have to be for free forever, right? Your gift can come with a price. Your gift is valuable. And it's something that a lot of times people in my circle, like, right now, this project that I'm working on, I really want the person that I'm working with it on it as well to realize just how much her gift can make for her and how she can put a value behind it. And I'm interested to see how I'm going to put a value behind this too, because it's different from what podcasting. I mean, it's aligned with podcasting in a way, but it's a different type of skill set, and it's something that I had never charged for before, but it's something I've always been interested in. So I'm just really interested in seeing how this evolves. And when you get good, or actually when you're in that middle stage where people don't know if you're good or not, they're going to try to say, all right, well, like you're not really established yet. Give me a discount, do whatever. And you might not want to put a value on your gift, on your work. But I'm telling you, I think that it was interesting to see how even early on in his career, he had some success as a producer or whatever. So he wasn't starting from the bottom, but he realized now you have to have a price on what you're worth. And I think that's a theme that you'll see now. I mean, I think Yeezys and all that stuff may be a little bit overinflated. But you definitely know that Kanye values his work. He wants to get paid for what he's doing. And I think that's something that we can take away from as well. Hey, Dream Drivers, this week's episode is brought to you by Walmart. Black and Unlimited is a celebration of being whatever we want to be. It's being Black and rock and roll and country singer, Black and outdoor adventurer and vegan, Black and cosplay fan and comic book lover and a cowboy too. And for who we are and anything else we want to explore, there's Walmart. We can pick up a yoga mat to be Black and zen, the ingredients we need to be Black and vegan, or a skateboard to be Black and rad and fearless. And y'all know that I'm multidimensional, so I can go to Walmart to pick up the ingredients I need to be Black and chef and mom and self-help lover and DIY lover and photography lover and more. Walmart is always there to help you explore all the different passions and interests and hobbies that you have. And Walmart is always there to help you explore all the different interests, passions, and hobbies that you have as a dream driver. So celebrate all you are, celebrate being Black and unlimited, feel free and inspired to explore anything and everything that could bring you joy. Yo, Dream Drivers, you could do it all without breaking a sweat, and you can do it all in style. From being a boss executive to lunches and brunches with your girls, to the kids' homework, family dinners, that much-needed self-care time, trips to the grocery store, and a weekend getaway that's anything but a getaway. That's why Infiniti fully reimagined the QX60 to help you conquer it all with ease. Even when you have back-to-back conference calls, gotta be on top of the kids' recitals, dance classes, or sports practices, not to mention your side hustle, because listen, dream driving is important and should be prioritized. A luxury SUV as functional as it is stylish and is as versatile as it is serene. Available features include seating for up to 7 passengers, a suite of active safety features, and massaging front seats. And I don't know if you looked at the all-new Infiniti QX60 yourself, but it really is stylish and is something that I would definitely be proud to be driving around with me and my baby as a boss mom, right? Introducing the all-new Infiniti QX60, designed to help you conquer life in style. Now with extremely limited availability, contact your local retailer for inventory information. Number 4, everybody needs a cootie, right? So Cootie is a person in the documentary who was filming behind the scenes, and there's this part in the beginning of it where he talks about he saw and he knew that Kanye was going to be a star, and he wanted to be part of documenting that story. Now, there's probably somebody in your life who may believe in you or see something in you that you don't yet see in yourself. I mean, Kanye also knew he was going to be a star and wanted to be a star, but it was having that person in alignment with the vision, and having that person who was like, yo, I do see something in you, and how can I help you? How can I support you? So I think a lot of times we need to cultivate in our lives people who are willing to support us, people who are willing to be in that back seat with you, willing to ride around and do the dirty work with you, and really love those people. And I say this because I know Issa Rae talks about this a lot, is networking horizontally. A lot of times you want to network vertically, right? We want people who are already 5 steps ahead of us, but no, ride with the people who are on the same level as you, and y'all come up together and bring each other up. And that's something that, I mean, I don't know how this is going to pan out. It's only part 1 of the trilogy, but just seeing how Cootie really was behind the scenes, all this raw documentary video stuff, he was there recording it, and he had his own perspective on what was going on as well. And that really, really was interesting to me, because I feel like a lot of us are not paying attention to those cooties in our lives, and we're not letting them be the support that they can be. So don't sleep on the people who are willing to help, and the people who see something in you, who are speaking life into you every day. Number 5, Rep your name, right? There's a part in the documentary where there's like this whole naming issue where Kanye, they didn't write his name right. And he's like, no, I'm Kanye West. So proudly rep who you are. Proudly, like, don't let somebody mess up your name. Like, it's something that I've learned a lot. A lot of times people, when they see my name, they might say Rana. And I really do correct people. Like, my name is my name. Like, that is the biggest thing that represents who I am. So say it right. Don't be afraid to correct somebody about how to say your name, because your name means so much. And your name is a thing that will live on beyond you. So don't be afraid to rep your name and to correct people and to hold that name with confidence, or whatever your brand name is. Like, rep it at all times. Yeah, y'all see me rocking a Dreams and Drive hoodie all the time. Like, rep that. Number 6, are you documenting your journey? It's interesting because I think Kanye West knew this inkling of, like, even before like cameras were a thing, like, documenting the journey is real. Like, I really think that's something that I resonate with, because I've been doing it. I've been documenting my whole life. I've been a storyteller. I've been the cameraman for a lot of other people as well. I just think it's so important. A lot of times a lot of people are scared of the camera. A lot of people are thinking like, oh, I don't want to be vain. I don't want to da-da-da. No, like, documenting the journey can really come back to be good, because number one, you're going to see how far you've come, and you never know where that footage will take. You never know when you're going to need all that stuff. You never know when you're going to have to go back and look at that stuff. Like, one of my girls, Nikhil, I remember we were talking about this, and I don't think this is easy to share. Like, you know, she's working on a big brand partnership, and she was able to use footage from other things she's done in the past that she's recorded in this. And this is a paid opportunity. So I think it's really dope. Like, you think that this stuff you're doing is just in vain, that you don't know if it'll ever come to fruition, but just having that in your back pocket is going to be so important. So, so important. And you never know, you might be able to make a documentary in 20 years, right? Because, like, I think this footage probably started like 2000s or whenever it started. Like, it's 2022. So Kanye has been 22 years of footage, right? That now he can now repurpose for something bigger, and that's going to inspire a lot of people. Number 7, I really love this quote. I think this was from Cootie, or it was just in the movie, but it was, home is where you learn how to love. And there's this whole sentiment, and I'll make this number 7 and 8. Home is where you learn how to love, and just the power of a mother's love, and just how beautiful that mother's love is. But you can really tell from this movie, you know, Donda, his mother, was a very big impact and influence on his life. Huge influence. And you can see just how Kanye's confidence was shaped, how his intellectual curiosity was shaped, how his love for language was shaped by his mother, and all these core things of what was going on in his home. I know now he has this whole like narrative about how his mother kept him away from his dad, and that's something that he doesn't want to do with his own kids. All right, but for the sake of this documentary, where we are in the story now, is like, you really do get this sense of home is where he learned how to love, where he learned how to see himself, where he learned how to see the world. And I appreciate that a lot, because now as a mother, it is my biggest goal is to teach my son how to love himself, and just how comforting that love can be, how supporting I want to be in his life. And sometimes I get a little bit nervous, because I'm like, yo, will this come back to bite him? Will he lean on me too much? Like, you know, we all know that ever since Donda died, Kanye West kind of seems like he changed, and it seems that Donda was his central place, the place where he went to lay his head. He felt like he could be himself. And now that she was gone, he didn't have that steering wheel anymore. So I do get a little bit nervous as being a mother, and thinking like, if I'm not here for my son, what's going to happen to him? But I hope that I give him the tools that he's able to navigate on his own. And Donda was a special person. That goes into number 8, the power of a mother's love. And whoever that is in your life, there's somebody who has shaped you so much, positively or negatively as well. But it makes me just want to be the best person for my son. And I can't wait to see when he grows up what his loves, what his interests are, what his passions are. Like, over the past few months, he's been into bikes. He's been into, Coco Melon now. Now he loves reading and just his curiosity for sounds and trains and recognizing things. I want to be his biggest supporter. There's a scene where like his mom is rapping his rhymes from when he was a kid, word for word. Like, I'm so excited to be able to be that in someone's life and just to be that big of a support. But it is a little bit nerve-wracking because I'm like, what if something happens to me and he doesn't have that anchor anymore? I just hope that he's strong enough to keep going. And I guess that's something we all have to reckon with at times, right? All right. There also was this quote about the balance between being humble and being arrogant. I think his mother told him, it's another thing his mother told him, the giant looks in the mirror and sees nothing. So that basically is like, you want to make sure when you become big that you look in the mirror and you're able to see something. Like she said, you can be in the air and on the ground at the same time. And that's that whole thing about, I think she was gently trying to tell, Kanye, don't let your arrogance now become your downfall. I do love your arrogance at times. You need it in this world. You need to be a star. Like she said, you can't be a star without being a star. But you got to also know how to be on the air and at the ground at the same time. And I think that's something that we all can navigate. And then that's the big balance of how do you balance this idea of going for your dreams and big things happening, but you don't let things go to your head, because sometimes when you let things go to your head, you aren't thinking through things. You aren't really focusing on what's really important. So it's a big goal of, not a big goal, but it's a really important reminder that you have to be humble. You got to be humble, and you got to remember, you got to check yourself sometimes. I think that's the big thing. You got to check yourself at times. So next up here, right? Always be ready to go. You never know when your next opportunity is. And it just seemed like Kanye West, like there was this part where he was, meeting with the artist and trying to get this artist to be on his record. And he's playing his artist a song, and the artist didn't like it and said, hey, what's your next song? Okay. Showed him the next song. Said, hey, you got to rap for this? And Kanye didn't have lyrics out. He didn't have no iPhone in his hand looking at his lyrics. He knew the lyrics to the song and he rapped it. I mean, of course, he probably was working on this for a long time. I'm not in the music industry. I don't know how easy it is to remember like raps for all these different beats that you have. But it seemed like he was always ready to go, always prepared with his speech, always knew what he wanted to say, how he could get what he needed from people. And I admire that, because I think you never know when your next opportunity will come. You never know when, like, your big break will be. And are you ready to go? Like, are you ready? Do you know who your target audience is if you were able to meet the right person at the right time that could give you what you needed? You got to be able to speak to what you want, what you need, and what you're bringing, what your dream is. I think a lot of times we get nervous about being forthcoming about what our dreams and what our intuitions and what our hopes and aspirations are, but you gotta know how to spit it to the person when that person is right there, because sometimes you only got one shot. I just think about the Super Bowl performance of, Eminem, you only got one shot, not miss your chance to blow, because opportunity comes once in a lifetime, right? It's so important. And I think the idea of chasing opportunity, and when opportunity comes, what do you do with it, was something that I took from that. Now, it's going to be interesting to see how this pans out for Kanye, because it's interesting because there were some things in the documentary that people did to him that now, within like the recent 2 years, he's done to other people. So it's not saying it's always going to work out the best, but I just took that as like, all right, this is a learning moment, right? This is a learning moment. And it connects to this last one that I have of, so I think this is number 12 now, or whatever number this is. We all need some validation. This Black History Month, McDonald's is kicking off Future 22, a campaign celebrating 22 Gen Z leaders across the country who are making an impact on their communities right now. This generation may have the largest influx of young leaders since the Civil Rights Movement. They're starting their own organizations, finding ways to empower youth and culture, standing up, and speaking out. McDonald's is showcasing their efforts and the impact they're having on the world. Did you know there's Black Sign Language? It's a form of American Sign Language that truly speaks our language. Student J.C. Smith is an advocate for the Black, deaf, and blind, and is an expert in BASL who works to help keep the tradition alive. McDonald's introduces his story and the stories of other Gen Z community leaders impacting the future on Instagram at We Are Golden. So make sure you check out We Are Golden on Instagram to hear more about these Black youth leaders and their stories. So what are you dreaming of? Adventure, more family time, a change of scenery? The nerds at NerdWallet can help you take the first step towards making your dream a reality. NerdWallet is a personal finance site run by money nerds who make it easy to compare and find the smartest financial products for you. So let's say you want to book an adventure beyond your backyard. NerdWallet can help you compare and find travel rewards credit cards so that you can use everyday purchases to rack up on points for flights, hotels, and more. Or maybe you want to spend more quality time with your fam. As dream drivers, that's important. NerdWallet can help you compare and find financial advisors so you can find less time watching investments and more time with the kids. They've got tools, calculators, and side-by-side comparisons to help you find the smartest products for you so you can turn your dreams into reality. Personally, my 2022 goal is scaling dreams and drive, so I can use NerdWallet to compare hundreds of the top credit cards and investing accounts. NerdWallet makes that super easy. Are you ready to compare your way there? Compare and find the smartest credit cards, investing accounts, and more at nerdwallet.com. NerdWallet Compare Incorporated, NMLS 1617539. NerdWallet is not an investment advisor nor an investment broker. Information is for educational purposes only. So, after meeting with that big artist or whatever, I don't think the artist actually worked with Kanye, but Kanye was like, yo, just that validation just makes me want to go more. And it makes me realize, I think, like, there's this whole reasoning, this whole storyline out here saying, like, y'all don't need validation. Only validation you need is your own. All right, that's true, but sometimes you do need validation. And of course, we need customer validation because if what we're selling is not what our customer needs, then of course, right, it's not going to work. But sometimes you just need that validation that, yo, you are onto something, or yes, this works. Yes, I believe in you. Yes, I see the vision. So do not discredit just how important that validation can be and just being the fuel. And I think a lot of us are motivated by different things, and some of us really are motivated by validation. So I know, for example, my love language is words of affirmation. Whereas someone's love language could be gifts and could be physical touch. I just need to know that you understand, that you appreciate. And that does a lot for me. So knowing your love language, knowing what that thing is that you need as your fuel is going to be very important. I think for Kanye, this could be to his detriment or downfall down the line, but he really did thrive off of validation. But at the same time, when he wasn't validated, he didn't necessarily make that say, hey, I'm giving up on this dream. I'm going back to Chicago. Nah, he didn't. And that's probably another thing. Like, he wasn't afraid to move and to be uncomfortable. He left his home because he realized he wasn't going to get where he wanted to get in Chicago. Maybe he could come back later. But at this part in the trilogy, like, he went to New York to get an opportunity. He lived in Norton, Jersey, hustling in his apartment. I love these type of stories because a lot of us are at this point where we don't know what we want to do. And we might have been saying, we've been doing this for a long time and we're not seeing anything from it. But the last thing that I wanted to point out is, like, you got to flip negatives into positives. You got to flip it. Keep flipping those negatives into positives. You cannot stay in the negatives forever or you will never move forward. And I just want to give you guys encouragement. Definitely go check out part 1, whether you like Kanye or not, whether you agree with him or not. I think this is really interesting documentary. And I'm really excited to see how it unfolds because something happened, something changed in Kanye. Maybe parts of this was always part of him. Like it's kind of interesting to see his like eccentricities and things that are unique about him. Like you can see that like that was always him. Like his demeanor, it seems like, has always been there. So there are core parts of you that will never change. But just as a creator who needs some inspiration sometimes, I think it's really important. I would encourage you guys, start documenting your journey, right? You never know 20 years from now when that's going to inspire somebody. And just really keep all of these tips in mind. I'll read them again. I kind of lost track because I was thinking of more as we were going. But, don't take no for an answer. You got to believe in you before they believe in you. Don't sell what you make for free. Your gift can come with a value. Everybody needs a cootie in their life. That means that support. Rep your name. Are you documenting your journey? Home is where you learn how to love. And the power of a mother's love is unreal. Like, I know some of us don't have nurturing and mothers, but like think about that person in your life who is like a mother figure to you or a similar type of figure, and just how much that person has spoken life into you and what the importance of having somebody speak life into you means. Be humble, right? The giant looks in the mirror and sees nothing. But at the same time, right, you can be in the air and on the ground at the same time. And there was this whole idea you can be a star. You can't be a star and not be a star. So you got to figure out what that balance is. Always be ready to go. You never know when your next opportunity will come. We all need some validation, but what do you do with that validation is very important. You can't be afraid to be uncomfortable. You really can't. And remember, flip everything to a positive. You can flip things to a positive. There are lessons to be learned in everything. And go check that documentary on Netflix. Like, I'm not getting sponsored by Netflix. I'm not getting sponsored by Kanye. But I do think it's important to showcase other creative out there that can help inspire y'all. And as dream drivers, this is what we need sometimes. We need that fuel. We need to be inspired. We need to see how other people have done it. Their stories, other people's stories have, maybe I'll make this a quote. I probably heard this from somewhere else, but other people's stories have the answer to how you can get things done, have the keys, have laid the groundwork, the framework, right? There's a map in other people's stories, so don't be afraid to dive through and figure out the map that they have laid out for you. If you enjoyed this episode, y'all, please share it. I feel like this is a dope episode. Remember, we are across the board, Dreams and Drive. Tag us on Instagram stories, repost things, let people know, send this Instagram or send this actual podcast episode via text, email, LinkedIn, wherever. I'm telling you, y'all, I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart because I've been doing this for a long time. And like, I really resonated because sometimes I feel like I don't know where this is going to go. And I know I have a talent. And, there are a lot of people out here with podcasts who are jumping off and doing so much stuff. And I just sometimes wonder, like, will this ever get there? What will be my jumping point be? And why am I doing it? And I think right now I'm trying to just really focus on that why again of like, what's the real why behind all of this? And I think that's what I'm really interested in seeing in this whole documentary fold out. Like, what is going to be that why? If you have a story, a dream driving journey that you think is really important that you want to share, please pitch me, reach out to me. You can pitch us at dreamsanddrive.com/pitch. Send me an email, send me a DM, make relationships. Like I think a lot of people are forgetting like, relationships are really the beginning of everything. So if you want to connect with me, please find a way to connect. I may be busy, but I love, if it's genuine, let's try to make something happen. And make sure you subscribe wherever you're listening. I really do appreciate seeing y'all come in every week and subscribe and the podcast grow. And thank you to our sponsors. If you got to this point, you probably were like, yo, girl, you got sponsors in every episode. Yes. And I know they may be, distracted from the message, but it's a part of growing the business. And I appreciate y'all for rocking with me and supporting me through this because getting sponsors is a great next step. You don't watch TV and say, hey, why does this person have commercial? You know that that's part of the evolution of being on TV. You're going to have commercial interruptions. So, sponsors are a good thing. So please check out all of our sponsors and their messages if it applies to you, because I really am appreciative to have them support Dreams and Drive. As always, keep dreaming, keep driving, and we'll chat again in episode 299. Bye, guys.